Protesters at the Dakota Access pipeline continue to hold strong against the construction of the pipeline. And even though various police officials have used brutality and violence against these peaceful protesters, there have been police departments throughout the country who have refused to go and support the Morton County Sheriff's Department. Now, the reason why is because their constituents are calling the sheriff in various locations throughout the country and letting the sheriff know that they do not support their law enforcement officials going to the location and fighting back against the protesters. Apparently, a massive campaign of angry phone calls and indignant emails to departments planning to travel to North Dakota succeeded in persuading multiple sheriffs who are elected officials. The brutal tactics used against peaceful Standing Rock Sioux and other water protectors have been a gross abuse of power. Now, before I get into the details in terms of who has decided not to support the Morton County Sheriff's Department, I want to show you a video that Jordan Sheridan did where he's speaking to the chairman of the Standing Rock Sioux tribe. And it shows you the kind of brutality that they've been met with and why people throughout the country are against the way that these protesters have been treated. Take a look.
I mean, I've been here 5 times between the not reading people their rights, illegal strip searches, chemical weapons use, rubber bullets, point blank range. I could go on.
I've noticed the force escalate with law enforcement. Using untrained guard dogs to billy clubs to rubber bullets to sound concussion. There's just you could go on, but it seems like
Grenades.
I don't know what they are. Concussion grenades. So you can see and water and freezing temperatures. So you can see the force increasing, and they'll come up with every reason, every excuse for them to use the force, and it's escalating. And as it escalates and there's more and more people, I think everybody's concerned for safety. I would say the Corps of Engineers is concerned for safety, and the tribe is concerned for safety, and we all should be concerned for safety for people. We don't want to see anybody in a hospital. We don't want to see anybody losing a life for this. So the state of North Dakota, along with Morton County, has unbridled power, and they have demonstrated that they will use it at all costs to injure any of our allies.
Yeah, he seems worked up. Like that's the guy. Those are the guys that they're saying, oh, they're the ones causing the trouble. There's no evidence, and it drives me crazy when the mainstream media just takes Morton County Sheriff's talking points and writes them as if they are facts. They just write like, oh, there's allegations of violence from the protesters. Really? From who? The Morton County Sheriff who's committing the violence against them. Do you have any evidence? Did you send any reporters?
Yeah.
If you didn't send any reporters, then you don't know, and you shouldn't just reprint their press release.
Yeah.
That's not journalism.
Well, look, to be fair, Michael Wolff believes that reporters just need to be stenographers. He literally said that, and just report what people in power have to say.
Oh, well, that's real journalism right there.
Journalism for him.
So now we've shown you over and over, and watch the videos on TYT Politics, youtube.com/TYT Politics. You see where the force is coming from. It is clear as day. We have it on tape. It is the police firing upon the protesters. You never see the water protectors firing back. The only time you saw anybody with a weapon on the side of the protesters was when it was a Dakota Access pipeline plant, a guy that they caught with ID from the company with a weapon, okay? Mm-hmm. So they caught him trying to instigate within the encampment of the protectors.
A provocateur.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's very clear which side the violence is coming from. And I know in the mainstream media, they think the state violence doesn't count. The state can do whatever they want to you. You're an American, you believe in your First Amendment rights? No, the state can just roll over you with what appear to be tanks over there. But guess what? The cavalry's coming. Mm-hmm. So as the cops are retreating from across the country, as Anna's about to tell you, Wes Clark Jr. and Michael A. Wood have organized a ton of veterans to come in on December 4th and December 5th and help the water protectors protect the water and the land. So now that is going to be a very interesting moment. Are you going to mow down those veterans? I hope not. I hope not. So now we're going to put a link at the bottom of this video that allows you to help those veterans get there and do the great work that they're doing. Our nickname here for Wes, who's one of our hosts, is the Cavalry. So in this case, literally, the cavalry is on the way. Now, meanwhile, a lot of the police forces across the country got called in on what is called an Emergency Management Assistance Compact. This is across many states, and if you have an emergency, a natural disaster, you call in police from other places. Hey, can you help us after the storm knocked down, our wires or blew away our houses, etc. But they're not using it for that. They're using it to help a corporation remove people who are protesting. So after a while, some of the cops across the country were like, wait, why are we doing that? Like, maybe you want to do that. I don't know, maybe you're profiting off of it, but we're not, so we're not going to do that anymore.
Yeah, look, I think that them using that reasoning is not something that's happening. It's not a widespread thought process that goes through a sheriff's mind, right? I think what's really having an impact is that constituents are calling their local sheriffs and letting them know, hey, you're an elected official. I am not happy with the idea of my taxpayer money going toward these cops who are then going to go and use brutality against these peaceful protesters. And so I love that. It shows that you have an impact, right? And it's something that we're seeing now with very specific police departments. So let me give you a few examples. Vocal public objections caused Montana's Gallatin County Sheriff Brian Gutkin to literally turn his detail around after they departed for North Dakota. So he had already sent the detail. And then he was getting so many calls from constituents saying that they did not support that action that he's like, hold up, homie, you got to turn around, okay? People are not happy with the situation. Here's what he said. I got messages from England, Poland, New Zealand, Australia. I wanted to go and help my fellow law enforcement. I just don't understand where we separated from the public. It really breaks my heart. We are not the enemy. But he also says, many of you emailed and called the office to voice your concerns. As your sheriff, I was very humbled by the honest conversations we had. Although my actions were well-intentioned, you made it clear that you do not want your sheriff's office involved in this conflict. So he heard, the constituents out, mostly because it'll have political ramifications for him, come re-election time. But I love that they're listening. I love that, citizens are having an impact on what's going on right now.
Yeah, and look, that's how democracy is supposed to work. Yes, he got calls from across the world, but that didn't affect him nearly as much as it did when his own constituents were like, no, really, turn him around. Well, why would I spend my tax dollars in Montana to go do something over there that's questionable to begin with? And he's not the only one. It also happened in Minnesota as well. So,
yeah. And also Wisconsin's Dane County Sheriff Dave Mahoney and his personnel lasted 1 week policing water protectors. They were supposed to be there for 3 weeks, but then they pulled out early. So it's, again, having impact throughout the country.
Yeah, and Minnesota's Hennepin County Sheriff Richard Stanek had sent in people. In fact, they'd help break up a lot of the camp, which was very unfortunate. But the Lieutenant Governor Tina Smith said, I believe he should bring his deputies home. It's not really our business. And they did. They brought those guys home. So as the cops who work for corporations, for whatever motivation they think they have, start to dwindle, and then a lot of Americans are now coming to support Standing Rock, it's become an interesting dynamic here. And I know there's a president who claimed that he was going to put his walking boots on if progressives needed his help. And he's got nothing left to lose. He's only got a couple of months left in office. Somehow, he still can't find his walking boots.
I don't know what's going on. So, look, hopefully we'll get to a story about how Obama is doing what he can to protect public land before Trump is inaugurated. And he's doing really good work there. But why won't he go out and support the protesters in this DAPL movement? I don't get it.
Because he's not a progressive.
Yeah.
He just isn't. He looks at these, he said, we're going to let it play out. In other words, I'm going to let him roll over you like I always do. Apparently on election night, he called Hillary Clinton and urged her to concede. Because that is what Barack Obama's been doing for 8 years, conceding to Republicans. So same thing here. But that's okay. We don't need him.
Yeah.
Okay? Join Wes Clark. Join Michael A. Wood. Go to the link below. Help out. Do whatever you can. Get up there. Shailene Woodley bringing a lot of attention to it, doing wonderful work. Susan Sarandon was on the Young Turks saying, hey, if I got a bank that's got money invested in this project, I'm pulling it out. And she did. So they're leading that effort. So everybody's chipping in every way they can. And by the way, the place where they're building the pipeline is unceded territory according to U.S. treaties, it is actually Sioux Nation land that they never ceded to the U.S. government. And the U.S. government acknowledges it. That's why they've offered them money to compensate them for the land that they took. And Sioux Nation has $1.3 billion waiting for them if they take that offer. And they say, no, we never asked for your money. That is our land, and you know it because it's in the treaties, and you've offered us money for that land. We do not accept your money. That is Sioux Nation territory. So they have a lot of the law on their side, yet they've got the tanks facing against them. I think what they need is the American people on their side.